Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours for 11/16/2015. As always, I hope you have a good round of questions like we did last week. Thank you all for turning your Project 5 in on time. My apologies. Project 5. As you know, we just got done grading Project 4. We have handled most of the regrade requests. Hopefully, if you still have any questions about that and or grading for Exam 2, we should get back to you within the next week. Alex and I will start grading Project 5 hopefully by this weekend, so we will get those back to you at the latest by Monday. So you guys know when those grades can come back and you can start looking at your grades, working towards what you need to earn in this class to get a good grade for the final exam and for the end of the semester. In regards to grades for for assignments that have not been graded yet, Alex and I will begin grading these now and throughout the rest of the week. So hopefully you guys should see most of your grades being updated over the next couple of days with some of the assignments that we'll be grading. So you guys can also look into that and say, okay, this is where I need to look into maximizing my score towards the end of the semester and for the final exam. So in regards to that, if you have any questions regarding assignments, Project 6, which I believe is up already, I can double check, and homework, because I believe you guys also have one more homework assignment to do as far as like a big collective out of the Building Java Programs book. Please do not hesitate to ask questions. We are always here to help. So I will end a little bit later since I did start a little late again. My apologies for that. We'll probably end around 7:06. So let's have a good office hours, guys. That's wrong. Yes,
Oh,
right.
really?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Nope, it needs to be over. So it comes up this case. Modifier. Oh, God.
Testing. All right. It is about 30 minutes into office hours now. Remember, we still have about another 30 minutes plus an extra 6 because we didn't start. Actually, it was plus an extra 4 because we did start a little bit later tonight. So please keep having those questions come in. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. Please do not be afraid to answer, or I should say ask, questions about Project 6 or any homework assignments that you do have coming up. I believe homework 4 is due tonight at 11:45, so any questions about those assignments, there's still some time. Please feel free to shoot me an email. So let's have another good 30 minutes. All right.
To be telling you about this. Toby.
Okay, never mind. That's right. I thought the other ones had flipped. Huzzah! Praise the sun!
What?
My statistics professor canceled class tomorrow because he wants us to spend time studying
For what?
our midterm on Thursday. So that's actually beneficial for me. I'm still going to get up early anyway, but I don't have to get up as early, which is nice. So, I'm happy about that. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that little interruption there. Daily class life and whatnot. Yeah, so keep those questions coming in. There's been some really good stuff coming in tonight. Much less I haven't talked about it. But yeah, again, any general comments, questions, concerns about coding, I'm also happy to answer those. So please, by all means, ask away. Cool. puzzles. I love puzzles.
Why don't you play this?
Because I don't have time. Ooh, JavaDoc, man. Come on. Get out. Well, there have not been any significant questions. So I shouldn't say any significant questions. All questions are significant in their own right to a degree. I will make one comment about code coming in as I continue to grade later projects. If you remember back in the very beginning of the semester, we said it is okay if you do not JavaDoc your stuff. So you guys were just kind of learning that, and it's understandable that yes, maybe not the most difficult thing in the world, but yeah, it is a little complicated to keep track of all the JavaDoc that we do have to do as students. One thing though, as we get towards the end of the semester, I should expect everything to be JavaDoc and or commented. We should not have absent code that just isn't explained to our user. At this point, when you guys are writing bigger and more complicated and especially more complex programs, everything should be explained. That should just be a notion that we would have gotten into by now. So looking over most of these assignments now and seeing that they're not commented or JavaDoc is a little disheartening to me. So please remember to JavaDoc and comment everything. It is essential, especially when you start doing more complex things. If you are going to continue here at State or elsewhere in a 216 or an upper level Java class, or even just coding in general, it's imperative that you JavaDoc all your methods, all your variables, and that you're commenting every step of the way so that whoever is reading your code, regardless of their skill level, knows exactly what your code is doing. So just a little bit of an FYI for you guys. minutes left in office hours. Actually, that's 16. So please keep those questions coming. Please ignore the obnoxious sounds you hear in the background. Also ignore that noise. Cameron says head to the atrium for food.
No?
Yeah. Oh, okay then. What happened here? Those are all the null pointers. Good.
Are you still on office hours?
That's fine. Yes, they can.
lie. How is that lie to you? You said Josh was an office hours.
I am in office hours.
Josh, by the way, this is for you.
I don't want it. Take it. Take it. I don't need it. Take it.
Alright.
Oh, you'll excuse my roommate and friends. They're now grabbing food, as I usually do after dinner. So sorry for that interruption. We have about 10 more minutes in office hours. Please continue to send in your comments and your questions. Again, I will answer them as best as I can in my abilities. Yeah. Let's have another good, actually now 9 minutes. Yeah. And all right, and with that, again, we still have a little bit more time in office hours, but grading is now officially over for foot line. So if you do go back in and check your grade for that, you should have a grade now. So if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to email me. Again, I will reiterate the biggest thing I saw as far as not really lost points, but just, again, general habit is making sure that we're Java docking all of our variables, regardless of what they are, and commenting our code so that even if you know what it is, other people should know as well. So, yeah, that's the only thing I really saw for foot lines. Everything else looked really good. You guys are doing a good job getting those in on time. Still having a couple people not submit theirs. It may or less be that due to other circumstances I really can't talk about, or I guess I should say the moral of this lesson here is please get your projects in on time. Please get your assignments in on time so you don't lose unnecessary points. That's all. But other besides that, I will be on for another 6 or so minutes. So please keep firing those questions. And I will answer them again to the best of my ability. I guess in the next couple of minutes, while we are just kind of sitting here, or while I'm taking some extra questions, I can give some good tips for the end of the semester. So as we are coming down to the end, you guys will be experimenting more with classes as with Project 6. So that will be kind of your first step. Maybe for a lot of you, maybe not necessarily you looked at classes before. I've seen some people try to use them in projects, which you really weren't supposed to, and you know why. But as we're getting into that, just make sure probably the biggest thing I see people starting out when they learn object-oriented programming, the heart of it all, now actually putting it together with the classes, where that's kind of what we've all been building up to, or all the stuff has been building up to. It's just the general understanding of what a class is and how it's formatted. So thinking about a class, we want to treat it as like a single entity object, or hence why it's object-oriented programming. We're treating it as something smaller than trying to procedurally generate everything in one large program. We're just kind of delegating tasks to smaller objects that'll do methods for us and that we can build to a client program. So that, again, we're bringing down big tasks into small things. So what's great about classes is we can delegate that kind of data to different methods that allow us to like get different values or transform things without having to worry about a client having to do the small stuff. The client can just work on the outer layer, and usually kind of like a preface to 216, if you will take it here, or like an advanced class anywhere else. Let's see. Kind of the big thing you should look out for when dealing with those is that most of the client programs that you will be dealing with are going to be GUIs. So you will touch on that a little bit the last couple of classes before the final exam, before review slides are due. And that's mostly where we've been training to use our main and static methods, is going to be in that GUI. So each GUI does have a main method that's going to control all the flow and the function of that program. And it also implements all the other classes and their associated methods to make that GUI work and to provide encapsulation for the user. Word of advice for writing classes. So not covering GUIs, you guys will touch on that just a little bit. Most of it's going to be covered in 216, like what we're learning now. And for classes, you want to make sure that the getters and the setters are correct. So getter methods are going to be those that are just literally going to return values. So when you have a private field, which you should learn about, or if you have, good, it'll basically just return the value of whatever that private field is to the user. And usually that's useful for testing or for getting values when you're printing something to a GUI or to the console, depending on what you're doing. Mostly it will be to a GUI because that's where you're going to be interacting with the user through the program. Setters, on the other hand, are good for use in your constructors, which allow you to actually construct the object, hence their name as constructors. Through those, they allow us sometimes, let's say you want a private constructor, or I shouldn't say private constructor, but let's say you have a private method that sets, let's say, the title of the book, because we're not going to want the client to have the ability to change the title of the book once that's been set. If that's in the data for the program, if that's kind of like a constant thing, that's better than setting a class constant. We basically just want to set it depending on whatever the user defines, and we're not going to change it again. So having a private method means it can't be accessed outside that class that it's established in. So that helps, again, provide encapsulation. The only time you want to make a setter method public is, let's say we want to mutate the method a little bit, or there's some data in there that we want to mutate. So let's say we're incrementing things when we're keeping track of points in a graph. I remember I had to do that for a 216 project, and that's usually when you would use a public setter method to, let's say, okay, if I want to increment the position to this point in the x and the y axis, then I would set the point's position again and do whatever the program requires me to do at that point. So that's just kind of a basic introduction to classes. You guys will touch on more of that if you haven't already in your lecture the next coming weeks. That's going to be huge for your Project 6, and that's also going to be the big final assessment that you've really all been working up to, so get excited. That's kind of combining everything we've been learning in class up to that point. And with that, it is now 7:06. Thank you guys again for joining me for office hours. You know, I always enjoy coming and teaching. I love to see you guys learn this kind of stuff, because as programmers, it's really cool to see how we can just take these small kind of really big, small and big programs, I should say, and kind of turn them into these automated tasks that can do incredible things. So good luck on your homework that is due tonight at around 11:45, I believe. Good luck on your project 6. I look forward to grading those. Look forward to seeing what those are going to be. So take care and have a great night, guys. I will see you Wednesday.